O Jerusalem, we are all aware Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, the Abrahamic religions, have a common father in Abraham. As for the story common to all the three religions, Jesus, a Jew, was crucified. Finds mention in the Quran and the Jews also as a prophet. The question arises, then why are the brothers killing each other as Palestinians and Israelis? For that, we will turn to the story in the Old Testament that is common to all the three religions. Abraham's wife, Sarah, unable to conceive, offered her maid servant, Hagar, to Abraham to beget a son. Ishmael was born of Abraham and Hagar. 13 years later, Sarah conceived and was born Isaac. Hagar and her son Ishmael were banished into the desert, but not before God announced Ishmael would raise a great nation of his own. Ishmael is regarded by the Arabs and the Jews as the prophet, the ancestor of the Arabs, the person who assisted Abraham to build Islam's most important place of worship, the Kaaba. The Jews believe that Ishmael was the ancestor of the Bedouin people living in the South Palestine area, also the ancestor of Prophet Muhammad. Jews see themselves as descendants of Abraham through Isaac and his son Jacob. With such a common bloodline, why are the Arabs and the Jews at each other's throats? The white man, the British and the Americans take the credit for this. After the Holocaust during the World War II, millions of Jews were killed. They needed to be relocated. They were killed and being persecuted. The Balfour Declaration by the British Foreign Secretary James Balfour took prominent Zionists in the USA in 1917 initiated the trouble for the Jews and the Arabs to keep the matter on a boil. The British government hoped that the declaration would rally Jewish opinion, especially in the United States, to the side of the Allied powers against the Central Powers. During World War I, 1918, the plan was hatched long back before World War II. They hoped the settlement in Palestine of a pro-British Jewish population might help to protect the approaches to the Suez Canal in neighboring Egypt and thus ensure a vital communication route to British colonial possessions in India. Now we know why they were settled there, the British. The Mahatma's visionary statement. The Mahatma was deeply sympathetic to the plight of the Jewish people in Europe, but he was against the Zionists in their attempt to create a state of their own by force in Palestine, which was already inhabited by the Palestinian people, the Palestinian Arab people. But what was the argument? The Mahatma always had a solution. He proposed that they be relocated to Australia with huge tracts of land vacant there and few people. Who the bloody hell are we? A plan was hatched to resettle thousands of Jewish refugees in a place you wouldn't expect. So during the 1930s in Europe, when Nazi Europe was rising to power and Jewish people were facing persecution and rampant anti-Semitism, an organization called the Freeland League for Jewish Territorial Colonization was searching for a safe home for 75,000 European Jews. And its founder, Isaac Steinberg, had his eyes set on Northern Australia, Kimberley. Open your gates to the persecuted Jews, let them help transform the landscape into a productive agricultural hub. This was the Russian Attorney General Dr. Isaac Steinberg in Lenin's government's pitch to lobby the Australian government to accept the 75,000 persecuted and fleeing Jews in Europe. The Aussies did not accept. The lesson that we have to learn today is the peace plan of the Mahatma and Dr. Steinberg, if accepted, would have seen peace in the Middle East, but that was detrimental to the plans of the British and Americans. Embrace the twist to enjoy the turn. Thank you.